And welcome to Tackle the Board. My name is Chris Exusion. You can find me at Chris Ebom on Twitter. And I got my main man, Russ Reese, the Vegas line reader. How you doing today, man?
I'm feeling great, man. Been on fire. I'm 13-1 in my last 14 football plays.
Insane.
I mean, yeah, had a great weekend. I mean, went 2-0 on Saturday. I hit some outright winners with Mississippi State and what was the other one? Florida State won outright. Two pretty crazy game at the end. I was a little pissed off on Sunday. I had an under that I loved with the Saints Titans. Luckily, the game just pushed, so I ended up going 2-0-1. But I really wanted that winner. I just felt like the Saints just had no Kamara. I just felt like there was going to be no points scored, but there were some crazy plays in that game that just hit the push at the end. So could have been an easy winner. I was hearing about there was some crazy roughing the passer on Tannehill. Like he threw a pick in the end zone, but he literally just got tapped and they called a roughing the passer or something like that. So nothing I can do. But I also saw you also had a great weekend too, right?
Yeah, awesome. I was on a 5-0 winning streak with a college and the pros. Everything's been solid. I had the mightiest fallen. I lost with Western Michigan again. I'll tell you what, Russ, there's things that you think about at the beginning of the season and you're like, all right, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. Western Michigan, I think this is my third loss with them in the season, which is pretty outrageous for losing with a team 3 times in one season for the most part. So, Russ, if I ever talk about taking Western Michigan, your job is to say, get away from it, because I was so hot. And then they blew that game. It was a crazy game because they were dominant the first half. Eastern Michigan had -9 yards. It was like crazy. They couldn't even move the ball in Western Michigan. And then Western Michigan decided to throw on a 4th down where they should have kicked the field goal. And the guy was 10 yards short and they thought they could spike it. It was absolutely terrible coaching.
So I'm assuming Western Michigan just couldn't put up enough points if Eastern Michigan had minus yardage.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the main thing. So eventually Eastern Michigan's running game eventually picked up a little bit for the most part, but they ended up scoring 20-some points. It just was just terrible. And it was just a really bad loss. And all the people that tailed me are like, I couldn't believe it. That 4th quarter was terrible. And it was just a hot mess and just turnover. Just a game that didn't work out for you. And Western Michigan just hasn't worked out for me this year. So we're staying very, very far away from
There's always teams like that. Yeah. If they burn me 2 in a row, definitely 3 in a row, you're definitely off of there. But there's always teams like that. But you know what's going to happen after you jump off the bandwagon? That's when they start covering. So
yeah,
but
I know.
You just can't touch them. There's certain teams.
They're just untouchables for me.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Taking the Falcons as a favorite. Just never do that.
Oh, yikes. I know. There's some things you just got to stay away from for the most part. But you know what? Let's get right into it. Let's get into the DFS world over here. We're going to have our guy Anthony Servino coming on and break it down this week's card for the DFS. Anthony, how you doing today?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Doing well, man. Red hot for the most part, keeping it going. Russ has been on a little 13-1 run over here. Myself 5-1. We're cooking right now, cooking with gas. How are you doing in the DFS world?
I'm getting there. Last week was a pretty good week.
Nice bounce back. There you go.
Yeah, I needed it. Even the betting wise was a pretty good week as well.
Nice.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, last night killed me. The NBA slate, the smaller slates, I don't do very well in. I think a lot of people might have got hammered last night, but tonight already is profitable.
Nice, and you're saying for DFS or sport or betting?
Betting.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, I got my eye on my game, the Nets. They're up 20 now. They're only up 12. I'm like, all right, push it back up again. Let's go.
Last night was terrible.
But let's get right into it over here. We're looking at quarterbacks here. It's some pretty interesting matchups going on here for the most part. I'm looking at what are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts this week against a stout New Orleans team?
I'm in on Jalen Hurts. He's more or less produced every single week. I think he has the most, quarterback 1 weeks out of every quarterback in the NFL right now. If anything, he's number 2, but he's right up there. He's consistent. He struggled recently, but starting with that Detroit game, he has one bad game and people panic. He was game scripted out. Philly dominated that game. Why is Jalen Hurts going to put himself on the line? And he's gotten it back going the past 2 weeks in pretty tough matchups. So I'm back in on Jalen Hurts this week. I think he's going to have his best week in the second half. The Saints defense is penetrable.
Yeah, it's not as easy finding those low sleepers now. The DFS catches up to everyone, so it's very tough to find the sleepers now in the second half of the season.
Sleeper wise, Joe Burrow, like he's not a sleeper by name, but in fantasy, he's right around the QB 12 range. And Joe Burrow he's been up and down. Like he started hot, he's cooled off a little bit. This game against the Raiders, I think Joe Burrow and even Jamar Chase was off to that monster start, and he kind of got quiet over the past few games. Coming out of their bye, I think they're gonna hook up big time on Sunday. I like Joe Burrow and the Jamar Chase stack a lot against the Raiders.
Nice. You usually hit on those Jamar Chase ones. What about switching over to running backs? You got your eye on anyone this week?
Dalvin Cook comes to mind because Green Bay's defense, they've shut down the past 2 or 3 marquee quarterbacks they face. So we could see a heavy dose out of Dalvin Cook. And if you don't want to pay up for a Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon is in a good spot, staying in that Raiders game. Ezekiel Elliott against KC. The KC defense, you can run on them. This could be a big game. It probably has to be a big game from Ezekiel Elliott. He can't have a dud game and expect the Cowboys to win because the Chiefs are back after last week. They looked like themselves. So as a Cowboys fan, I kind of wish we got KC like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
So one of our listeners is checking in right now, and I know this is dear to your heart over here. He's going Joe Burrow or Dak Prescott this week. What are your thoughts?
Ooh, Burrow or Dak?
Since you just brought up Burrow, I kind of like that, so I want to see where your head's at.
Let's see, where's Dak at? I think I'm going to lean Dak, and I like Joe Burrow a lot, and he's 6,600, and Dak is 72. So if you want to take the cheaper option, I think Joe Burrow's ceiling is as high as Dak Prescott's. But this spot here is why you gave Dak Prescott that contract. I think Dak wants to show that, he deserves Patrick Mahomes' money, and it's going to be a duel. Like I'm all in on this Cowboys and even the Chiefs stack. It's going to be expensive, but you can make it happen.
Yeah, and Dak's just been consistent all year. I mean, he had that, even in that bad game where they did nothing, he still put up 19.88 fantasy points. So he's
2 late touchdowns to Malik Turner.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're looking at tight end over here.
I mean, he did say you like Chase for wide receiver. Is there anyone else that you got your eye on for wide receiver?
Let's see. Looking at wide receivers. If you want to go a little bit cheaper, Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown's been the guy, big time breakout year. He's dealing with a thigh injury, didn't practice today. So not saying he's going to miss the game, but I like the way that they've been utilizing Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman, 3 straight games, I believe now, with double-digit PPR points. He's played in 4 games all year, has 6+ targets in all of them, including back-to-back games with 8 targets, and that's with Sammy Watkins active this past week. Bateman's clearly the 2, and I think this game against Chicago and their exploitable secondaries could be the game where Rashad Bateman goes off. I think he can go off, and his price point's probably like $5,000.
Yeah, I love him this year. I had my eye on a guy.
4,500. 45.
Oh, really? 4,500? Wow.
Yeah, and he's had 3 straight weeks with 11, 10.2, and last week 14 DraftKings points. So he's gotten better every week, and he's only been active since week 6, opened that year with the injury. So this could be the game where he goes ballistic. And when I say 4,500,
that's why I had my eye on what's his name, Brandon Cooks. I was seeing if you had your eye on him. He's at 6,000, and it seems like Tyrod Taylor. It looks like he had 14 targets last week, and that's against Miami. So they're facing the Titans this week.
The price for Brandon Cook's a little bit absurd because we know what his ceiling was. Like earlier in the year, he was one of the top fantasy receivers. Going back to week 1 against Jacksonville, you bring up the target share. Already, it was week 1 with Tyrod. Before Tyrod went down, he had 7 targets. And then we just see this monster target share for the rest of the year for Cooks, and then Tyrod comes back and we see 14 targets again. When you're getting fed that many targets in Miami's obviously or who do they have this week? The Texans.
The Titans got the Texans. Yeah.
Let's see. Who?
The Titans. They're playing the Titans.
Okay, so I then that's a great matchup. The defense is getting better, but you can throw on that secondary. Like Cooks for 6,000, you're getting like Jamar Chase ceiling for that price because Cooks can go off for 20, 25 points.
So as
Nice.
far
And
as
then
defense, hey, real quick though, I want to get into it real quick.
mhm.
I want to get into the tight end position over here. I know that tight end for the Bengals has been kind of like the sexy kind of sleeper right now. I know you talked about him a couple of weeks ago. What are your thoughts about him going up against the Raiders?
The matchup is there. It's a matter of can they exploit it? And CJ Ozoma, the issue with him is targets. This isn't a guy who's getting Travis Kelce or Mike Gesicki targets. Like there's targets where games where he gets 3 targets. Now, in a few of those games, he scored 2 touchdowns this year. So he's very efficient with them. It's a matter of, when is that game where he hits? The matchup says he could hit this week. And the price at 3,500, that's a big time value.
As far as defense goes over here, is there a middle tier road kind of defense that you think people are going to be overlooking this week?
Obviously, they're priced pretty high. I like the Dolphins a lot this week, but obviously, DraftKings knows that they're improving as well. The past couple of games, Miami's been on fire defensively. It's the best they've looked all season, back-to-back games with 17 plus DraftKings points. Now they get the Jets and Joe Flacco. So you're paying 3,600, third most expensive, but that is something I would invest in. I would probably fade the Ravens. They haven't done anything all year. They're in the top 5 or 6 in terms of price point, and just because you're getting the Bears have been playing better, so they're one of the more expensive ones. I would probably fade. So if you want to go for a cheap defense, what about Washington against Carolina? The Carolina is obviously going to be better with Cam, but it's still Cam. He can still make mistakes. And the football team, that's another defense that has been playing better. 7 DraftKings points in 3 out of their past 4 games. And they're one of the cheaper defenses on the slate. And, Cam's going to improve everything, but I think Washington could still get after him. This is still a 30-something-year-old Cam Newton?
No, definitely.
Yeah, I hear you. He's an older guy, but I don't know. It feels like he's kind of like a little reborn right now. He's got something to prove right now. He's got a little chip on his shoulder a little bit.
Yeah, I can't wait till he gets hurt next week.
Oh, you never know. You never know. I don't know. I don't know. In my opinion, though, with the Redskins,
I never like when guys go back to their old team where they actually prospered before, and then they go back. It's like Gruden going back to the Raiders. Like nothing good came about that.
I hear you. I just that defense for Washington, though, that secondary, they've been getting carved up left and right. I mean, Cam Newton always stares down his wide receivers. He's known for doing that. But
they shut Brady down last week.
That's true too. Yeah, I mean, the Panthers game. I didn't watch the game last week, so I looked at Cam's stats. I'm like, oh, did he do a bunch of stuff? I'm like, oh, he had 2 touchdowns and he didn't even play. I'm like,
he's like 6
I'm back. Yeah. If you watch it on
snaps.
TV, he's like, I'm back, and I'm looking. I'm like, what the hell did he do? He just had a couple runs in the game.
No, he's back. All right. All right, Anthony. Before you go, my man, can you give me a running back and a wide receiver we got to play this week in our lineups?
Let's see, running back and receiver that we have to play this week.
We got to start our lineup with this.
Try to find a good one. David Montgomery, I like the 5,500 price point, and Montgomery, if he gets going, he can produce as one of the top running backs on the slate. And the matchup against Baltimore isn't terrible. You can run on this defense now. Guys like Myles Gaskin and what's Johnson is that? A couple of guys, Dearness Johnson, and I think Chubb's coming back. They're priced higher than Montgomery. Yes, he's coming off the injury, but he did play a little bit last week. This is his second game back, and I think David Montgomery can go off this week against Baltimore.
All right. Nice. And wide receiver, what are we looking?
I'm going to play it safe at wide receiver, and this guy's going to give you a nice mixture of floor and ceiling. Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow quietly has been one of the more reliable receivers in the NFL and in fantasy football. I think he's given us double-digit PPR points in all but one game. And really, who else do they have with the Raiders? Their defenses are kind of catching up to Darren Waller now. Bryan Edwards has a game here and there, but it's really Hunter Renfrow's receiving room. This guy gets like 8 or 9 targets almost every week.
Yeah, I mean, I always see him always getting some sort of first down for the most part. So
Yeah.
he is definitely looked at as a safety blanket for the Raiders. But Anthony, before you go, where can they find you?
I could follow me on Twitter at the Real NFL Guru and my content over at fffaceoff.com.
All right, fantastic, man. Thanks for
Awesome.
being
Thank
on.
Good luck
We
this
appreciate
week,
the
guys.
insight.
You too.
All right, that's Anthony Servino, the Real NFL Guru, breaking down a little NFL DFS for us over here, Russ. Let's spread that out a little bit over here. It was a jam-packed room, but glad to get that DFS working. That's very important. Get your money made that way. So let's get into the betting card, right, Russ?
Definitely. Time to make some real money now.
The bread and butter here. So let's get it going. We got a little Thursday. This Thursday night matchup is pretty interesting. A lot of people would kind of poo-poo this game, but I find it a really good opportunity, Russ. It's the Patriots at the Falcons. I'm going to see what the current line is right now because I saw it at 6.5. I want to see if it went up or not. Let's see where we're at with this game over here. It's currently at 7. All right, it went up to 7.
Wow.
And we are at, hold on, I just had this up here 1 second. Over under is 47, Russ. Where are we going?
I like the Falcons here. Patriots, they've been red hot and coming off a blowout win last week. Then we have the Falcons who got embarrassed versus Dallas last week. That was just a tough spot for the Falcons last week as they were facing a pissed off Cowboys team. That's why they got killed in that game. So now we just have a great spot here for the Falcons where the Patriots, they're coming into this game with a short rest on the road versus a non-conference opponent. I just feel like everyone's steaming the Patriots right now, and I'll take 7 points all day at home with the Falcons here. So give me the Falcons.
Yeah, Ross, I'm right there with you. I love the fact that it's 7. This is a great spot for the Falcons, believe it or not. If you look at the stats in general, everything points towards the Patriots, and I get it. Like the Falcons have been atrocious on the defensive side. They haven't been that good. The offense has been back and forth a little bit. But you know what? I'm taking a couple nuggets here that I really like here for the most part. The Falcons, they're 10-2 on Thursday nights. They do tend to come out more often for Thursday night games. And Matt Ryan's been there forever. So this isn't his first rodeo here. And the Patriots are 1-5 away after allowing less than 10 points versus a non-division team. So they tend to let down a little bit more on the road after a dominating performance on the defensive side. And this is a pretty big revenge game once again for Matty Ice over here. They talk about the Super Bowl. This still hangs, with him. They were winning that game by 1 million points and ended up blowing it. He's thinking about this here. This game's going to be a real close game. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if the Falcons pull this off, honestly. But I think safe to say I'm all about the 7 here, Russ, with you. So, Rob, I'm right there with you. They come and play tomorrow night, and they cover at home. So I'm pretty sure Russ is right there with me.
Yeah, I don't see I see the Patriots as being a very good team, but I just don't see them being a team that'll just keep blowing teams out. So I can see them winning in a close game. And also, you got to think about it. This is a rookie quarterback. He's never played on a short rest like this coming into Thursday. And Belichick, he's messing up, saying how he's like, oh, we played a great game last week. I'm like, whoa, he never comes out and says that. He slipped up there. Usually he says, we got to clean some things up here, Yeah. So not good for the team. They're on a high horse right now. I think they're going to be a little sloppy in this game.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think that's an excellent point you brought up about the rookie quarterback on short rest. That was something I actually did not think about when I was handicapping this game.
It literally just came into my head now.
Yeah, that's a great look at the game because that does come into play. I know Mac Jones has been pretty solid and everything, and I like what he's been doing, and they've been kind of keeping him under control for the most part, not putting him in harm's way. But I think this is a great spot for the Falcons. I know you got to hold your nose and be like, taking the Falcons, but it's all right. We went against the Falcons. We're going with the Falcons. We're just picking our best spots, and this is a good spot. And there's gonna be tons of public money on the Patriots, so I'm more than happy to be on the other side of that.
Definitely.
So the next game is Washington Football Team at the Panthers. Panthers are laying 3.5. The over/under is 43. Russ.
I got the under here. This seems easy as both teams, they don't have a real quarterback. Panthers coming off their looks like their highest point total this season so far. And that was in a blowout win. So I just see them getting back to a defensive type of game here. That's how the Panthers have played all season. And then for Washington, Heineke, he hit a season high 81% of his passes last week. That's not going to happen this week. Now he's facing a top 10 defense on the road. I just feel like The Panthers, I don't know if they can cover the spread. I just feel like they win the game, but I don't know. It's just one of those games that just seems fishy to me that they're favored by just 3. So I just feel like it's going to be an ugly type of low-scoring game, and Panthers are just going to play with Washington, 17-14 type of game. I just see an ugly low-scoring game.
Yeah, this is gonna be an ugly game, but I think it's gonna be ugly for Washington. Coming off an outright big dog win, I love going against teams that are playing the next week. There's a lot of public perception with the Washington football team now that just beat the Bucks. Some things about the Panthers as well. Panthers are 10-0 off double-digit against the spread wins, and then they're also 16-4 off of straight-up dog wins versus non-division opponents. So this is a good spot for them here. Washington is one of the worst defenses in the league, and they lost Young on top of that, who's their best defensive player. He's done, so you can forget about him. And Washington's just a bad team. They just covered last week with the outright win. They only covered twice this entire year, Russ. So this team has not been playing good. They they're getting to where we thought they would be at. Everyone loved Washington. They're like, oh, they're going to be so good. They're going to make the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. But the schedule was so bad last year for them. Now they got that good schedule, and now they're getting the crap kicked out of them. They just got lucky last week, but we can take advantage of that. And I'm more than happy to lay a 3.5. And I think Cam's actually have a decent game this week. Will we have other good games after this? Probably not, but I think this is a very good spot for him. I don't know if Ron Rivera could really coach up against him, to be honest with you, because I'm not a big fan of Rivera anyway with his coaching style. So give me the Panthers. I think there's going to be a lot of public perception with Washington after that big outright dog win. And I think the Panthers dominating win against Colt McCoy is getting overlooked here. And I will be no problem. McCaffrey was looking solid, and we'll get another good week out of him as well. So give me the Panthers laying the 3.5.
See, that's what's worrying me a lot here. You're talking a lot about last week is what worries me. That's all. Because I remember the Panthers. They ended up losing like 3 in a row earlier in the season, and that's when they had that spot against the Giants. They're like -2.5, -3. We're like, oh, we're gonna take advantage of this, and then they got blown out. They lost like 3-25 or something. I was just like, I don't know. It has that feel. It just seems too obvious to me that the Panthers, because the Panthers are coming off +7 dog and they won by 24 points. So that's 30.
Yeah, that's a big one too.
Points. That's why I don't know. It's just two teams that are both coming off great wins. That's why.
Yeah.
It's just everything. Like looking on paper, I agree with you that it just seems so easy just taking the Panthers here. That's what makes me nervous. That's all.
Yeah, no problem. I'm rolling with the Panthers regardless, but I get where you're coming from. 2 big dominating wins last week that people didn't really expect. So that's kind of where we're at, but I'll take the Panthers and the coaching on this spot. But the next game we're going to get into is the Indianapolis Colts at the Buffalo Bills. Bills are laying 7 points. The over-under us is 50.5. Where are we going?
Give me the Bills here. Colts have been taking advantage of weak defenses all season long. They've only faced one team in the top 10 in defensive yards allowed this season. That was the Rams, who they lost to. It was 24-27. But in that game, the Colts actually had a special teams touchdown. So the Colts really should only put up 17 points in that game. The Bills, they have the number 1 defense in NFL yards allowed a game. So I see Wentz struggling here in this game. He probably puts up just 17 points again against a good defense. I can see a 27-17 type of game. I'll take the Bills here.
Yeah, Russ, we're not going to play around with this. I like the Bills as well. McDermott, just from his coaching record, he's 7-1 after scoring 35 or more points. When he gets his team motivated, playing really well, they continue to do that for him. The Bills are also 10-2 versus opponents with revenge off back-to-back straight-up wins. Indy lost to the Bills in the playoffs, and then they're coming off of back-to-back straight-up wins. This is what you're talking about with what the defenses they were facing and taking advantage of for the most part. The Colts beat the Jags, and the Bills lost to the Jags, so the public's going to feel like, oh, man, they could definitely hang with them. And the betting percentage is showing this. People are taking the Colts, and it's outrageous. And they have been a covering machine all year. But the regression is going to happen, Russ. And we talked about that before in previous shows where teams are covering like the entire season and then people are still taking them and the books readjust. And this is what's happening here in Buffalo. They got the best defense from both sides of rushing and pass. This defense has been nasty. And Indy's 26th ranked pass DVOA on defense. Allen's going to have an absolute field day against this defense from Indy. So I like the Bills in a rout, double-digit victory. That's where I'm standing.
Definitely. Yeah. And the only concern would be if are the Bills going to score enough points, but I've seen them put up duds like 2 out of the past 3 weeks, so I know the offense is just going to get back on track now. We're getting toward the end of the season, so everyone has a little lull throughout the season. They already had theirs, so they should get rolling again, that Bills offense. Because you got Carson Wentz, bad quarterback against a top defense. Definitely for the public to be trusting a bad quarterback against the great defense, that's when they get in trouble right there. So definitely like the Bills.
Yeah. So this next game is pretty interesting to me because I think it might be on the opposite side of you here, actually. But we're going to see where you're at. The Packers at the Vikings. The line is Vikings +2. The over-under us is 49.5. Where are we going?
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 games that I just don't like this week, and this is one of them, one of these pick 'em type of games. If I had to side with a team here, it would probably be the Vikings. I love taking a home dog, you know that. So I'm never, I don't know. I just, these past couple of years, I've just never been a fan of the Packers, but I mean, this is probably the best they've played on defense. So that's why I do like the Packers. I could see this being more of an under type of game because Packers have been playing better on defense, but that's what I'm saying. I'm just talking myself into garbage. So again, guys, just don't take anything with this game. I don't like it. I rather just see who you like in this game.
Yeah, so I'm actually with you on the Vikings here. This is a really tough game to handicap. Just a few things that I looked at in this matchup. The underdog in this matchup is 9-4 in the last 13. So the dog has been covering a lot here for the most part. The Packers are also 3-10 off a double-digit straight-up non-division win. Something that the Vikings have been doing well in the red zone. They're second in the NFL in pass DVOA for the red zone. So we all know Aaron Rodgers likes to have those little pass plays for the most part and everything with the play action. So they've been actually defending that pretty well. Originally, I was going to probably go with the Packers here, but just too much pointed to the Vikings here. And, we always talk about Aaron Rodgers just he takes over in that division for the most part, and he just manhandles it. But I think this is a spot where the Vikings could cover and win outright. So, like you said, it's a very tough game to take, but I really do like the Vikings in a spot if you were going to take it.
Yeah, this is like a 50-50 proposition. So if you guys are betting this, I would just bet the money line and get that plus money out of the game and just go small on it. Because the Packers are playing well, but I don't know. They just don't have that wow this year. You know what I mean? It's just like they're winning, but it just seems so boring,
Right.
It just seems like they're not going to sweep the whole division. So this just seems like a game that they've been on a huge win streak. I mean, you know what? I guess they lost to the Chiefs, my bad, because Rodgers sat out, but it just seems like a game, tough game on the road against a tough running team like the Vikings. And the Vikings are desperate still. They're not even at 500. So they definitely need this game bad too. So I would side with the Vikings.
All right. Next game we're going to get into is Lions at Browns. Browns are now 11-point favorite. The over under us is 43.5.
Yeah, I have the Browns here. Browns, a good team coming off their most embarrassing game of the season. Now they get to face the Lions, who just can't score points on offense. We talk about this every week. They actually had the Lions 229 rushing yards last week, and they still only scored 16 points, and that was with overtime. So the Browns, they will be getting back. Chubb's going to be back this week. And the Lions are 30th in the NFL in rushing yards allowed. I just feel like this is going to be a beat down here. I think it's going to be a 31-13 type of game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. This is a spot where the Browns, you see that Chubb's not playing and, Hunt's hurt and everything, but Johnson's been really solid, man. He's been really taking advantage of his playing time. We talk about this all the time, bad teams covering and then playing, the next week. I talked about before on Twitter. I'm going to say it again. Bad teams usually don't cover 2 games in a row. They just typically don't. Lions are one of the worst.
Except for my Jags last week, that's all. But that was still a good spot. I loved the Jags last week.
Yeah, but most of the I'm not saying it's foolproof.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, but Jags aren't as bad as the Lions. I'll tell you that.
It'll make you money if you fade those kind of situations. The Lions are 0-5 in their last 5 games following against the spread win. And the Browns, they're 6-1 in their last 7 home games versus a team with a losing road record. And the Browns, they're number 2 in rushing yards per game. And then the Lions are allowing they're 30th in rushing yards allowed. So this plays right into their hands. Johnson's going to have a huge game, probably a good DFS guy, or even just a prop guy. He's probably going to rush for 100 yards. I mean, this is what I'm kind of looking at over because they're going to feed him the ball constantly. They're going to get their money's worth with him. So I'm right there with you. I like the Browns in a route, and I can't. This is bad team, the Lions. They're bad.
Just take a shot every time you see Dan Campbell shake his head or start crying in the game because it's going to be a lot in this game.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, I know. And then when Thanksgiving comes, I'm going to have my first drink in like 2 months.
Oh, man, I forgot.
So I might have to play the Dan Campbell game over here, and it might get a little sauced real early.
Who they play on Thanksgiving?
It doesn't even matter.
I know. Yeah, right.
They could be playing Shawnee High School for all I care. It's probably going to still get ugly.
I hope it's not the Bears, because I know they're coming up soon.
God, all right, let me check real quick. Since
that would be terrible.
All right, so we got the Chicago Bears at the Lions.
Oh man, that's gonna be awful.
That's gonna be a terrible game. We'll be all over it next week, so stay tuned. All right,
it might actually be Dan Campbell's first win. Who knows? That's the only shot they have of winning this year.
That would be quite. Hey, we'll do the handicapping for it. I'm really excited about the Thanksgiving game, so be sure to check it out next week at 9:00 on the Sharp app, YouTube, Tackle the Board. All good stuff there. But let's get into another game that I'm looking at here. Ravens at the Bears. The line went down. It's Bears +5. The over-under, Russ, 45.5.
This is one I'm not crazy about, but that's why I just wanted to tell the people watching like how good I feel about certain games. Like these favorites on the road, I'm not big on, but I would take the Ravens if I were to take a side here. Ravens, they're coming off a loss where they looked bad as -7 favorites last week, facing a Bears team who are banged up on defense. And I had the Bears in that Steelers game, and I didn't like how the Bears looked on defense. I didn't notice how many guys are actually out, and I don't know. They just had some sloppy offsides calls too. I just feel like Lamar Jackson's going to be pissed off. You got a top tier quarterback here pissed off in this game, 28-17 type of game. I got the Ravens.
Yeah, we're not overthinking it once again. The Ravens is the play here. Ravens are first in rushing yards per game, and the Bears are 23rd in rushing yards allowed. Just pretty simple right there. The Bears are 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 home games versus a team with a winning road record. The Ravens are that. And another important thing is the Ravens aren't a terrible team, but they're off of 3 against the spread losses along with 2 straight-up losses. This is a perfect get-right spot for the Ravens. And the Bears, you know how bad their coaching is? They're 2-8 with rest. They just have been terrible off the bye. This is like the perfect setup for the Ravens right here. Ravens win this by double digits, and we don't have to sweat it. I can see a couple picks from Fields here, a couple turnovers. We were lucky to get our cover against the Steelers. We got our Bears cover for the year, so we don't have to sweat that anymore. So, I don't need to sweat that anymore. I can just recline on my chair, enjoy myself, and watch the Ravens kick some ass against the Bears. So give me the Ravens here.
Nice.
All right, next game we got is the Saints at the Eagles. The Eagles
I want to stop
you.
I think you might have skipped the game.
Oh,
I think you
might have skipped
the Texans at Titans, maybe.
Let me see. Oh, I skipped it a little bit back. Yeah. So, all right, let me backtrack here a little bit. We got Texans at Titans, -10. And the over-under, Russ, is 44.5. Where we going?
I was just getting all excited because I wanted to talk about my Texans in this spot here.
Oh, absolutely. Talk away. Break it down
so I just never trust the Titans as a favorite, especially now without Derrick Henry. The last 2 games without Derrick Henry, Tannehill has 213 passing yards last week and 143 passing yards 2 weeks ago. This isn't a team right now that's just going to blow you out. Texans are much better with Tyrod Taylor right now. They just faced a hungry Dolphins team the other day where they had a bunch of turnovers. And you actually saw how good the Dolphins are playing now on defense as they looked good against Baltimore. I also love taking a team that's off a loss and it's off of a bye where they're now an underdog. So coming off of the bye, you're now an underdog. You're hungry to get a win here, and it's a division game. I like the Texans here +10.
Yeah, I want no parts of this, Russ. I don't like any part of this game at all. Tyrod had a terrible game last week. Will we have another terrible game? I don't think he really will, per se. I don't think it got any worse for Tyrod. That was a horrific game for him to play, but it can only go up for him there. And like you said, the Titans, I don't know if they're going to really blow out any teams like this. I think they're just trying to get their wins. They're getting touted right now as a great team, but it's going to be weird. I don't know. I just have to stay away from this game.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm bit with this game.
Yeah,
so
it's nothing.
I'll go with you with the Texans.
Yeah,
but that's pretty
this is nothing I'd go huge, but I would definitely I would lay some money down on this as a small play, guys, because this just has the feel as last week where I said to take the Jaguars against the Colts. I just feel it's a division game, and this is the worst division I think in NFL right now. I don't like these teams, the Titans or the Colts up here at the top of the division. They're just going to play with these bad teams in their division. And double digits is just too many points in the NFL this year. You barely see these blowouts, and when they are blowouts this year, it's like when it's a small spread or an underdog in a game. It's like these big spread teams aren't really blowing the socks off of certain teams. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough game, but I'll side with you with the dog. But yeah, maybe we'll sprinkle a little bit on that spread there. But let's get into
money line.
A little money. All right, let's not get crazy here. Let's come on. I know you're feeling froggy. You want to leave.
I don't know, man. The Titans have been winning way too many games. They're due for another sloppy. They did lose to the Jets too this year, and they don't have Julio either. He's on IR right now, so the team isn't doing much on offense. Somehow they squeaked out last week.
All right. Well, I'll keep that in mind. So Texans outright.
Yeah, I might throw an outright out there.
Okay, all right.
It definitely will be on my free pick list this Sunday, guys.
All right. You're calling outright, so I like that. I'm holding you to it. It's gonna be glorious when you hit it because I want no parts of this game. All right, now this is a game that I'm really interested in here. This is the Saints at the Eagles. The Eagles are a 2-point favorite. The over/under us is 43. Where are we going?
Nice. Yeah, I like the Saints here. Saints, they're first in NFL in rushing yards allowed. I was actually impressed when I saw that stat. There are two teams the Eagles have faced that are in the top 10 in NFL rushing yards allowed, and that was the Bucs and the Cowboys. Two games where the Eagles actually were just overmatched and Hurts had to do too much. So I think the Saints will take away that run game, which the Eagles have been relying on very heavily these past 3 weeks. So they'll be pretty much caught by surprise here when they're stuffed on the run and have to get back to what they were doing before where they're struggling. Right. So 23-17, low scoring type of game. I think the Saints get the win here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you as well. It looks like Kamara's going to play. He's probable right now for Sunday, so it looks like he's going to get a spot. So if you want to take, it went up to 2. I mean, I'm more than happy to take the Saints money. I actually really like the Saints money line here. Not even bother with the points here, but if you want to take a spread, go right ahead. Eagles coming off a dominating win against the Broncos, which we loved last week. We talked about. We're all over that. We're in key with the Eagles. That's the local team for us. We know what's going on with them. Saints playing that close game to the Titans, a game they probably could have won outright with Kamara, honestly. Yeah. And the Saints, they're 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 games following a straight up loss. So the coach really gets them, prepared after that loss. And, he's been there for a while. And the Eagles are 1-5 in their last 6 games as a home favorite. They have not been that good at home, and especially as a home favorite. And they're 2-9 against the spread in their last 11 games following against the spread win. And you already talked about it. The run defense is awesome for the Saints. And that's been the bread and butter for the Eagles. That's how they've been dominating when they got those wins with the run game. Now that they aren't going to be able to have their run game, they're going to get punched in the mouth there. Will Jalen Hurts step up and be able to throw on this team? There's also a lot of revenge factor here as well. If you don't remember,
I remember
part was against the Saints, and that came out of nowhere, and he put on a great performance again. This is not going to fool the Saints this go around.
Especially they get to see him twice, because that's why I remembered that game, and that was the first Eagles win. I don't think they won the rest of the season with Hurts, but that was also a Taysom Hill, so the offense wasn't doing anything. I remember Hurts came out doing everything in the first half, but I think in the second half the Saints were slowing him down, so they're probably going to figure him out coming into this game this season. So especially with the number 1 rush defense now, so definitely think they shut them down. And we always talk about this. Sean Payton, I've seen a stat like over the years he's like 70% when he's like an underdog. So we've been talking about this. They hit again as an underdog again last week. They just keep hitting as underdogs all season long. So whenever you got a team that's number 1 in rush defense and they're a dog, great spot to take them here.
Yeah, and one thing for the cherry on top of that, the Saints are 10-0 against the spread versus an opponent off a double-digit straight-up win. The Eagles won 30-13. Nice. This is all Saints. It all points there. We won't get fooled. You guys won't get fooled because you're watching the show or you're listening via pod. This is the game. You take the Saints. You take a money line. I don't even bother with the points. There's no reason. Get a little bit of juice on your side. take a money line. I love them here. The Saints all day. This is one of my favorite plays on the board.
Yep. Yeah, we're Eagles fans. So me and Chris
Yeah.
right away talked about this earlier in the week. This was the only game we really talked about. And Chris said he liked this game. And I was just like, all right, I got to see what the bet percentage is. And I'm like, oh, wow, people are betting the Eagles. So definitely a good sign for us taking the Saints again. Hopefully Kamara plays, so I can definitely solidify this as a big play we both like.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So the next game I want to get into is the Dolphins at the Jets. Let's see what we got the current line at. Jets are a plus 3.5 point dog, and the over-under is 44.5.
Yeah, this is one of these things. I like the Dolphins here. I mean, the Dolphins, they're a team we knew. You actually have their win total under, but we wouldn't predict that they were going to win this less of games. I mean, they're going to have a bad season. But they're getting back to like a fully healthy team right now, so I just see them playing as good as they were last year, just to gain some momentum here against another bad team. I love the way that they're playing against the Ravens the other day. I think they'll be aggressive again in this game against the Jets, who I don't even know who they're throwing out at quarterback. I don't care.
Oh, I know who they're throwing out there.
Yeah, who's coming out this week?
Hey, Flacco.
No way.
I've been hearing things.
Really?
I've been hearing things.
What,
I've been hearing things about
quarterbacks that
Flacco.
can't even keep track over there. If it's Flacco, I'm getting my money out right now. Holy shit.
Not so fast. Not so fast. All right. This is the Jets. They're going to win this game outright. I'm telling you right now. With Flacco, they're winning this game outright.
I gotta look this up here.
All right. This is what's going on over here. This Dolphins team, like you talked about and I've talked about, sucks. Okay. They're not good. They came off this big dog win on Thursday night. What?
He's starting. What the hell?
Yes, exactly. He's starting. I have no problem with him starting. You could throw in Josh Johnson. I don't care. They're throwing Flacco in, the veteran. They're throwing the guy in from Haddonfield over here. All right. I love it. I met him at a bar one time. Great guy.
Don't disrespect the people. Don't disrespect the people from Haddonfield. He's from Haddon Heights. All right.
Oh, well, big deal. Whatever. It's the same spot. Don't matter. Anyway, I ran into him at the bar during his rookie year, man. Good guy.
Yeah.
But anyway,
he wouldn't drink a beer with you. He said he
was going. It was the spring. It was it was the preseason. He's getting ready for the season. I can respect that.
Oh,
but anyway, Jets coming off that big beatdown. And the Dolphins are back-to-back straight up and against the spread wins. Dolphins are 1-5 away versus a less than 250 win percentage division opponent before the season started. This team plays where their level of competition's at, this Dolphins team. And that's very important to realize here. And now that I'm getting an extra half point because the great Joe Flacco is playing, I even love it more. Give me the Jets. They're going to win outright. I'm not fooled by this Dolphins team. I'm telling you, this is a weird spot for the Jets. They win this game outright, and then they get a little hype, and then they're going to get destroyed the rest of the season. This is their game. Jets plus 3.5. I like them outright dog money line.
I got to see what you're smoking over there.
Not smoking anything, my friend. Just reading the lines. That's what I'm doing over here.
It's one of those. It's one of those games where every week I say, "It's all right. I'm not going to argue with you on the 3-7 team or whatever." So
usually, Jackson. It's fine. You don't have to agree to it.
You hit on those when I say that. So that's
yeah, I know. Well, I know the Jets are winning outright. I'm not getting fooled by this Dolphins team, and we're already against the Jets the last week against the Bills. I wasn't fooled by their 30 points over here. We're buying low on the Jets once again. We were selling high on them last week. This is what's happening here.
I kind of like this under. I like this under too in this game. I mean, I like the under as well against Tua. These guys both got to put up
captain checkdowns.
I don't think so. No way. In New York too. In New York, got to check out the weather report. Are we getting 7-mile-per-hour winds or what? What's going on?
It'll be a nice little chilly day over in East Rutherford, I think.
We'll see. It's supposed to be 70 tomorrow.
I like that under as well, but I'm sticking to my guns here. I like the Jets outright this week, so just enjoy the money line victory, all right? Next game, we got the 49ers at the Jags. 49ers are laying 6 points in Jacksonville. The over-under, Russ, is 45. Where are we going?
Yeah, I like the under here in this game. I just see this being a defensive type of game. You have I love when I have two below average quarterbacks, and Shanahan said last week in that Monday Night Football victory that they got to start running the ball a lot more. He ended up having 40 rushes in that game, which is crazy. So with them coming in on the road, running the ball, this will eat up a lot of clock in this game. And I just don't trust the 49ers enough to be laying a big number on the road. And it's a long road trip. I usually don't talk about road trips, but it's coming off of a Monday Night Football game. So that's where it kind of worries me. But I mean, the 49ers are focused. They want to get the wild card. So not quite sure which side to lean with the side. So I'll stick with the under, though. 23-16 type of game.
I know what side I'm sticking with this game.
Mhm.
No side. I'm away from this game so fast. This game is a stinky, stinky poo-poo game. The 49ers, who knows what you get from? Last week, they came off a dominating win, and then there's other games where just bad coaching by Shanahan. I don't trust it. This is stay so far away. I like where you're at with the under because I think both teams going to both have a hard time scoring for the most part. But I don't know if the team's going to score like almost 30 points. I think that's like impossible at this point. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just don't like this game at all. So I'm staying away, but I'll roll with you on that under. Next game I got is the Bengals at the, Bengals at the Raiders. Raiders are a 1-point dog and the over under is 49.5.
Yeah, this is the second game that I was talking about that I didn't really like. I mean, gun to my head here, I would side with the Bengals because it's just a matter of which team do you think is going to go on that 3-game losing streak. And I don't know, the Bengals are coming off the bye here, off being embarrassed, and the Raiders, it just seems like they're free falling here, as I don't like them as it was as the season started. So I would just side with the Bengals. Who you like in here?
I'm going to keep it simple. I love the over here. This is a great spot where you're going to see a fun game going back and forth, scoring a bunch of points. We saw the Raiders defense wasn't able to do anything, and then we saw Carr slinging and everything. But this is the one key stat that I'm going to bring out here. The Raiders are 11-0 with the over as a home dog in their last 11 games. The over has just been hitting crazy for them because they're trying to prove something, get their points. The defense hasn't been all that great. So give me the over 49, plain and simple.
Nice.
Next game we got is the Cowboys at the Chiefs. Chiefs are a 2.5-point favorite. The over under is 56.5.
Yeah, I just want to say I was talking about Mahomes those past couple weeks. I'm like, I think it was like last week. I was just like, that Mahomes, he hasn't been doing anything. That big game is just going to come or whatever. And when did it come? Right when we're just like, we're not going to touch the game last week or whatever. And I was like, just watch. He's just going to he ends up getting 5 touchdowns or whatever. I was like, see, I knew that shit was going to happen. So, but this week, I'll take the over in this game. I don't take overs, but this is an over game. Cowboys defenses look good this year, but they haven't really faced any elite quarterbacks. They faced Brady with the Bucs early in the season, and I remember they put up 31 points. And in that game, I remember the Bucs fumbled like inside the 20, so they could have easily put up 38 points against the Cowboys defense. Mahomes, I just feel like he's getting his confidence back, so I see him putting up points as well in this game. And this again is a non-conference game. That's when I do like taking overs. As for the Chiefs defense, they have faced Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, where they gave up 28 points and 36 points. So they're another team against elite quarterbacks and elite offenses. They do give up a lot of points. So I have a feel of just an over type of game here. I think it's going to be like a 35-31 type of game. I would take the alternative over 59.5 or over 60 because I just feel like both teams are just going to put up a lot of points.
Yeah, if it's gonna go over, it's gonna go over by a lot. It's not gonna be by 1 point. So that's some good point you bring up. Getting value, more bang for your buck, getting that juice on your side, so you get paid that extra money. So I like that as well. This is a tough game. So I was looking at this game. I've been down on Mahomes. I've been seeing him really bad with the deep ball. I watched a lot of that Las Vegas Raiders, the Chiefs game, and he had a throw where he went across his body and almost got picked off, and they scored a touchdown. And he still doesn't look that great, and he's been getting kind of bailed out a little bit. But these are a couple things I've been noticing in the season. And Chiefs are 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 games falling against the spread. You've been watching them all year. They cover the spread, and then it's just a dud the next one. And then as a home favorite, they've been 0-5 against the spread in their last 5. But the Cowboys, they've been really taking this underdog role to like heart. This has been a really good key for them. They've been 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 as an underdog, and they've been great on the road. 4-0 against the spread on the last 4 road games. I'm siding with the Cowboys here. I think this is a good spot. Like you said, these elite quarterbacks, these good offenses score on this KC team. And I think the Cowboys are going to do this here. And I think Mahomes is going to get caught with a few more mistakes than we think's really going to happen, because this Cowboys defense has been causing a lot of turnovers. So I think Mahomes won't get as lucky as he did last week with the Raiders. Hey, if he has another great week, then maybe he is back. But right now I don't see it. So give me the Cowboys plus the 2.5.
Nice.
Next game, we got the Cardinals at the Seahawks. Seahawks are getting 2.5 points. The over-under is 48.
All right, guys, I got a lot of info for this game. So
Excellent.
This is a game this is going to be a game that I'm probably going to bet, but I'm probably not going to go big on, but I just got a lot of info here on just how I just love this game, guys. So the Cardinals I got in this game, we've got an elite team in the Cardinals coming off a blowout loss. Kyler Murray, he's been resting for 3 weeks now. He's going to be good to go in this game. These teams are just not on the same level. Cardinals defense is 4th in the NFL in defensive yards allowed, 9th in offensive yards. They are 9th in offensive yards, and that was without Kyler Murray for 2 weeks. Then we have the Seahawks. They're 31st in NFL in defensive yards allowed. The Seahawks are a team who go as far as Russell Wilson's basically going to take them. So here's some stats for you, Chris. All right. How this is just not the same Seahawks team. The last 2 seasons, Russell Wilson, he's 17-4 in games decided by 7 points or less. He's been carrying the team the past 2 years. What do they make it to like the wild card and they get knocked out because he just does everything. This year he's 1-2 in games decided by 7 points or less. He's just like, they don't have that magic like they had before. Nothing's going to go their way this year. For having 4 losses in 2 seasons and games decided by 7, and he's already halfway there in just 1 season. This team's going to be like, and last week I talked about it with Russell Wilson coming back. They didn't put up any points. I was talking about that finger, how he's rushed back his recovery. And some of those passes they were showing were wobbly. He was throwing out. You can't have wobbly passes going up against a motivated, great team here in the Cardinals. I just feel like this small spread, I just love this game with the Cardinals here. I think they're just going to win this game easily. So give me the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, we're still trying to see what's going on with Kyler Murray. I feel like they really do need him to play this week, so I think he's playing. He's playing. Oh, he's definitely playing?
I could tell by the line he's playing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, because they're 3-point favorite on the road. The Cardinals, they're 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games following a straight-up loss of more than 14 points. They've been able to bounce back real good. In this series in general, the road team is 9-3-1 against the spread in their last 13 meetings, and the Cardinals just have been covering against this team constantly, 6-2-1 in their last 9 meetings. And you touched up on it. The Cardinals defense, they've been great. They're second in pass offensive DVO. Well, actually, their offense has been really good as well. Their pass offense, number 2, and that was with Kyler Murray being out and everything. And the Seahawks are 24th in defending the pass DVOA. So Murray should be able to throw on them at will. Their defense is ranked 4th, their total defensive DVOA. And it's just this is just a spot where we're going to take advantage of this. There's a lot of uncertainty with Murray, but we can take advantage of it right here. And I'm right there with you. I like the Cardinals in this spot. This is a great bounce back for them. This isn't the Seahawks that we've known that like could cover these 3-point spreads, no problem. There's a lot of problems going on here. They don't give Russ enough protection there, and that's going to be a big problem here. So I'm right there with you. Give me the Cardinals -3.
Yeah. Just I love when there's just a small spread on the road right here, and it's actually a great team. Cardinals are a legit playoff team, and Seattle, they're playing in this tough division. They're probably going to end up last in this division. When you end up last, you're not going anywhere. I just feel like this is such a great spot here.
Yeah. So next game, Steelers at Chargers. Chargers are currently, let me see what the line is at right now. It has 5.5. The over-under us is 47.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I haven't been paying attention to that line. That's flying up there, 5.5. That's what I was going to say with this game. I did like the Chargers, but 5.5 does seem like a lot of points. Because both of these teams, I don't know. I'm getting an improved team here with the Chargers this year, and they're only 5-4. This is a type of game that I just see the Chargers definitely winning. Now that you tell me that it's going up to 5.5, it kind of worries me for them covering the spread just because the Steelers play good defense. But the thing is, Minka Fitzpatrick isn't going to be playing this week. Their leader on defense, so that is a big blow. Chargers do get into a lot of close games too, so this is probably going to be one of these. If it was at -3.5, I was liking the Chargers, but now that you said it's going bumping up to 5.5, it kind of worries me. But if I had to take a side, I would take the Chargers.
Yeah, so I'm right there with you with the Chargers. I saw originally at 4.5. It's gone up a
Mhm.
point, and I think that's a lot to do with Big Ben not probably playing. His
Yeah.
shoulder's banged up. He has the COVID issue. You talk about Fitzpatrick; he's not gonna be playing. Watt got real banged up last week too. I'm not sure if he's even playing. He's the guy that really, gets the defense
the real
moving.
leader.
And if Watt's not playing, this is a lot of trouble. That the heart of their defense is gone right there. And the Chargers are 4-1 their last 5 games following against the spread loss, and 4-1 also losing straight up. So this is a very good bounce back spot for them. I think they still cover regardless. I know it kind of worries you that the line is going up, but if they're going to go against Rudolph, it's just going to be a big issue.
Yeah, it looks like I'm seeing some news here. Looks like Watt probably isn't going to play this week either. So now it makes sense why the spread's bumping up so high. That's why I was so thrown off by seeing that line up at 5.5. I just had a bunch of notes for the Chargers, and I'm like totally baffled that Watt is out now too. So definitely probably a spot here for the Chargers. I don't know. It's tough taking blow. I just don't take favorites unless they're motivated. So
I think there's some motivation here.
yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, they did lose last week, so that's actually a good sign. That's actually a good sign. Yeah. Watt and Fitzpatrick out, that's actually pretty huge too.
Yeah, that's big. That's much big than Big Ben. That's for
this
sure.
is turning into like the Steelers of last year where they just fell apart at the end of the season. It's probably going to happen again here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm right there with you. I like the Chargers as well, so we'll ride that Sunday night. And then Monday night, we got the Giants at the Bucks. Giants are on prime time again, getting double-digit. What are we at here? 10.5? Let me see if it went up. Oh, excuse me. It's 11 now. The over-under is 49.5 for us. Where are we going with this dud of a game?
Yeah, I like the Bucks here. I mean, Brady, in his press conference last week, he took like 3 questions and he said, "All right, you guys done." He got the hell out of there, dude. He's a big baby, so he knew he had an awful game.
Yeah.
So I see him being pissed off in this game. Bucks defense will shut down the run and cause Daniel Jones into a lot of 3rd and longs, which is going to be a lot of turnovers. I see him getting at least a couple turnovers. He likes to fumble a lot. Giants have faced 3 top-tier teams this year. They gave up 38 to the Rams, 44 to the Cowboys, and they gave up 20 points to the Chiefs in that last night game. But I remember Mahomes did throw an interception in the end zone that game, so they could have easily had 27 points in that game. So they do give up a lot of points to these very top-tier teams is what I'm saying. So this is another top-tier offense with the Bucs. So 31-17 type of game. The Giants look good on their last primetime game, so I just don't see them looking good. An average to bad team looking good again on primetime. I just don't see it. Give me the Bucks here.
Yeah, this is kind of a tough spot because we dealt with this before with the Chiefs, before with the Giants, and we thought that was going to be a very good get-right spot for KC, and they ended up not covering that game. But if I had to take a spot, I would take the Bucks here. Bucks are pretty much what I'm going to keep it short and sweet over here. Bucks are coming off back-to-back straight-up losses and against the spread. Giants 3 straight covering the spreads with 2 straight-up wins. This is still a bad team. The Bucks got embarrassed last week. The Bucks got embarrassed, like you said last week. They're 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 home games, and they're 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 home games as a home favorite. They played well as a home favorite. Just not playing well last week, and the Giants just covering 3 straight games. Are they going to really cover 4 games? I can't imagine they're going to do that here. And the Giants are probably going to get a little bit more love here because the Bucks lost outright. If I'm looking at what the betting percentage is right now, let me see where we're at right now because I'm kind of curious where this
maybe in the 50s, nothing probably.
Yeah, well, it's about 50-50.
Yeah,
it's about 50-50. So that's kind of where we're at. So I think that's actually more love for the Giants than I thought there would be.
Lately, I've been on fire on these big spreads what's it called? What a team like the Bucks who've been playing terrible. So we're buying low on the Bucks here, who they lost by 10 points in that game last week, and that was how big of a favor were they last
Nine
week?
and a half.
9.5. So that's about 19 spread points right there just in that game. And then they lost outright the last game. So it's a buildup of like 20 some against this ATS points. I love when those ATS points in the minus. So now we're buying low on them. And that's when they just shoot up and blow a bad team out. Because I've been hitting on these crazy lately. And it's just funny, Chris, that in this run, the only loss that you just talked about was the Chiefs game. So maybe it's just because the Chiefs were struggling. So I mean, I'll trust the Bucks here to see, I'll go with the Bucks here in that same kind of situation here. I'm just going to keep riding out those situations that have been hitting. But I think the only reason I lost was the Chiefs did throw that interception, like I said, in the end zone. So they could have won that game by 10 points, even how bad you said the Chiefs even played in that game. Mahomes was missing passes all over the place. So if Brady is on and these guys get the 30, I just don't trust the Giants to put up a lot of points. So.
Yeah, and Robert checking is Saquon back this week? I don't think he's back this week. I still think he's still questionable with the ankle. So
if he
I don't
does
think
play,
really
I bet you he probably gets
all.
limited carries or something too. I bet you maybe they'll give him like a little bit of a workload, like just give him some carries. But I don't have a straight up answer for that because he's on my fantasy team too. Trust me, and I'm losing my mind. I got him and Hilaire on my team, and both of them are just going to ruin my season because I have no clue if both of them are playing this week.
Yeah, speaking of bad fantasy lineups, my team took the ultimate hit. Derrick Henry out for the year, and then Ruggs from the Raiders. It's just two guys that were getting points from me constantly, way gone. So I said, all right, see you later, fantasy season. It's been real.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was a fun season for me. So I had a lot of fun. But that'll do it for our NFL card. Feeling really good. You can always hit me up at Chris Ebom on Twitter, Vegas line reader for Russ Reese. If you guys have any questions about any games, always more than happy to answer them. But let's get into the college card over here. We have a couple big games here, Russ. I think I'm pretty excited about these two not two primetime games, but two big games here where I think we can get some shakeups over here. So I'm kind of excited about here. The first game we're going to get into is Michigan State at Ohio State. Ohio State's a 19-point favorite at home. The over-under, Russ, is 66.5.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'll take Ohio State here. It just feels like they've just been playing really well. And I was saying earlier in the season how I just don't like Michigan State as much. I just feel like they're one of those teams overachieving. But I don't have much info on this game just because it's a big spread type of game. So I just see Ohio State controlling just how they did last week against Purdue. I just see like a 42-17 type of game here. I'll take Ohio State.
Yeah, we don't overthink this, Russ. A lot of people are going to be taking Michigan State because they've been winning games and covering games left and right. Ohio State has been rolling, and this is a great time to take them. This line is big for a reason. This line is pretty much imploded for a big marquee game like this. Michigan State is 3-9 off double-digit against the spread wins out of their last 12, so they haven't been a good double-digit dog. Now, here's the stat here, okay? This will make you feel good about backing Ohio State over here. Ohio State is number 1 in the entire country in total yards. Michigan State, what do you think they are ranked defending total yards, Russ?
I would, off the top of my head, think that they're not that bad at defense, but what do you got them at?
Well, give me a ranking. Give me what you think.
I would just off the top of my head say 80th, 70, 80.
70, 80? I'll give you 111th in the entire country in defending total yards.
Honestly would never think that they were that bad at defense.
And you know what? Everyone always talks about Michigan State with this great defense, blah, 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 blah. You know, the stats speak for themselves. I don't make these up. I see these stats. Ohio State, they're ranked 6th in the entire country in passing yards. And Michigan State, even worse than that, 130th in the entire country in defending the pass yards.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Michigan State. They were playing an easy schedule in the beginning of the season too. So it's not like they've been playing. They haven't even played a Ohio State, the best team that they're going to face this year.
And you know what, Russ? 75% of the public is taking Michigan State right here. And you touched up on it. This is a spot where Michigan State had that soft schedule. They only beat Michigan as a big win, which they squeaked out somehow, but they can't do this again here.
I'm cracking up. I noticed Michigan State was still ranked 7th. I'm like, I don't even pay attention to these guys, and I'm just like, what in the hell's going on? They're still ranked 7th.
I believe you have Michigan ranked ahead of Michigan State, and Michigan State beat Michigan. So this is where we're at here, Russ. Don't overthink this. The offense is going to be rolling. They might put up a 50 burger on these guys easy. I love Ohio State here laying the 19, and you can even take the first half because they're going to be up double digits anyway. And let me see what the first half line is, because it's probably like 12 or something crazy. Let me see where we're at, because I got to see this.
The only now, I mean, I just throw everything out there. So
sure, you throw it out there, throw away.
Because this isn't a game on my radar, but just looking now at the schedule, Ohio State has the at Michigan game next week. That's the big game, so you never know if they take a lead and get out of Dodge. They did have a big blowout last week. I know it's one of those games I'm not going to bet, but I always look for all the negatives in games,
sure.
And then that's how I assess everything. So just seeing that they have that at Michigan game, that throws me off. Last week was a game I was actually pissed I didn't take Ohio State, because Purdue was coming off that big win. They upset Michigan State. So they laid the smack down on Purdue last week. That would have been a perfect spot to take Ohio State. That's why I'm nervous, because they put up that 59 points last week too. They just put up a ton of points last week. So, but yeah, I mean, I would still side with Michigan State. If Ohio State does play,
you side with Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I must have messed up. If Ohio State,
I had to correct you on that one.
That definitely shows you that they're looking ahead to that Michigan game.
Well, I actually kind of disagree with you there. I think Michigan's looking at more this game than Ohio State.
That's true.
Ohio State is a team that's just been way above everybody in the Big Ten. Ohio State's more looking at the playoff picture than actually Michigan. And this is a spot where Michigan State's just going to get steamrolled here. The first half line is actually 10.5. I like that as well. I think they'll probably be up 14, at least 14 at half. We always looked at these Bama teams that always were killing teams in the first half and everything. This is going to be the same kind of scenario. Ohio State here. They're going to roll them here. They need to keep their resume going. And yeah, it is a big game against Michigan, but it's only big in Michigan's eyes. Ohio State's been killing them forever. So I'm not too concerned like, oh, we got to play Michigan. Like, who's Michigan? Like, Michigan hasn't done anything against Ohio State. So for Michigan, yes, this is a big game for Michigan. Ohio State, it's just another day at the office and another ass whooping that they're going to lay. So this is kind of where we're at. Ohio State is rolling right now. They need to keep the foot on the pedal, especially in such a tight, close playoff race here. So give me Ohio State, big statement game, blowout victory. Let's go. Next game we got. This game's intriguing over here. Oregon at Utah. Utah is a 3-point favorite. The over-under, Russ, is 59.
Yeah, this is a game where the spread jumps out to me. I like Utah here. This game I actually have as a pick'em for this game. So for me to see this spread off by 3.5 points is definitely jumping out to me here. And the over-under is only at a 59.5, low scoring type of game. I think Utah, the crowd's probably going to be jacked up for this game. I can see them. I bet percentage is probably on Oregon as well, because they're a top 10 team. I got Utah here minus 3.5. These fishy lines late in the season, they always come through because Oregon's been winning a ton of games. I mean, they skidded by UCLA we talked about earlier in the season. I think this will be the hiccup they have here on the road. So I'll take Utah.
Yeah, this is a great spot for the Utes over here. This is what's going to shake up the playoff scenario over here. Looking at what they did, Oregon coming off that cover against Washington State, just barely covering that game. Utah not covering against my Arizona Wildcats. Looking ahead to this game, they won 30-29 against Arizona, who has been playing a little bit better, still stinky, but playing a little bit better. The Ducks, they're 1-5 in their last 6 games following against the spread win, so they haven't been able to cover 2 games in a row. It's been real hard for them. Utah has only been favored once in the last 10 years against the Ducks. They were a 5.5-point favorite, and they won and covered that game 32-25. So Utah's number, and I'm going to give you some extra stats here that you might not have known. Utah is 7th in the country in sack rate offensively. They don't get sacked at all often. Oregon is ranked 103rd in defensive sack rate. They don't get to the quarterback. They just don't. And Cameron Rising's just going to sit back there, and he's going to run a little bit. He's going to throw a little bit. They aren't going to get to him. Utah has a ranking of 6 for first down rates in the entire country. These guys continuously get first downs. Oregon's ranked 53 in defending that. So they're continuously moving the chains. And this is what's going to help them get them on the other side, scoring points constantly, whether it's field goals, touchdowns. they're going to control this game with the run game. The run game's been solid, and they're not going to really touch the quarterback that much behind the pocket. I like Utah to win here and to cover as well.
Yeah, I'm curious if like what Utah is with their rushing offense, and looks like Oregon's been pretty good on rushing defense, but these two teams kind of match up perfectly.
Yeah.
They're kind of mirrors of each other looking at their stats on offense and defense. So people would never expect Utah to be favorites right here. So I just feel like the public's going to be all over Oregon here. I think this will be a great spot for us here with Utah.
Yeah, so I got a revenge tour game. They've been hitting pretty
Nice.
well. We had Arkansas last week with the Golden Boot, the victory.
Nice.
It was fantastic. Overtime, Arkansas finally getting the revenge. They haven't won in a million years with the Golden Boot, so that was very exciting for them. We had them -2.5. If you saw on TikTok and on Twitter, everywhere else, that was a big play of mine. Probably my favorite play of the college day. So everyone was able to cash that in. I got a game in the American Conference. I think it's getting kind of overlooked here. A nice revenge game. We got East Carolina at Navy. Navy's getting 4 points at home. The over-under is 46.5. For us, I love the Purple Pirates here. Navy at the beginning of the season is 0-5 as a home dog of less than 14 points off of a straight-up dog win. ECU coming off that dog win, that big impressive win in overtime. This is a big revenge game for them, losing the last 2 years and then some. This is the first time since 2012 ECU has been favored in this game. ECU this year, 5-0 against the spread in their last 5, falling against the spread win. So they've been able to roll with that as well. Navy's defense has sucked. They're 129th in the country in offensive yards per play. They just don't move the ball on offense. This team has been really bad. ECU's best stat, though, is the busted drive rate on offense, which is 36 in the country, and which that pretty much means is they don't get stopped for 0 yards or negative yards often. They continue to move positive yards. This is good against a really bad Navy team. So as long as they're moving those chains, they're going to be able to score. And this is an imploded line, Russ. ECU has not had their way against Navy, and now they're a 4-point favorite on the road. I think this is more than just their dog win last week. I think there's more to than a public kind of bet right here. And I think this is a spot where the Pirates can win by a touchdown here and, get it rolling a little bit with the Pirates. So give me East Carolina Pirates laying 4 on the road, imploded line. That's where we're going revenge tour.
Nice. Let's hit that.
Absolutely. But that'll do it for us, guys. Thank you for listening, podcast, video, YouTube, Twitter, all that good stuff. You can find me at Chris Ebom on Twitter, on TikTok, Ebom Sports Bets. You can find Russ Reese, Vegas Line Reader. Find him on Twitter, everywhere else, TikTok, Snapchat, all that good stuff. We're all over the place. Tackle the Board, Sharp app. Continuing the smash this season. Very good stuff. And we're going to keep it rolling, Russ. We're going to keep getting these guys winners.
Definitely. Yeah, guys, and help us out if you like the show. Just hit the like button, share this video, get this out to more people. We're on fire right now, going to keep making easy money. I noticed I'm going to put up I put up picks last Sunday on Twitter. I'll start doing that again because we give you guys every game, but you could tell the games that I'm not really feeling. And there's also the games that just miss my big plays. So I'll be posting some of those free plays that just miss my big plays. I'll post them. I'm sure Chris will be, if you message him, he'll give you the plays he likes too as well. So don't hesitate to message us, guys, and we'll give you some info to help you basically win because we're all on the same team. We're all trying to profit and make money.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's go make that money. Let's go tackle that board.
Let's go.